Hello. I'd like to call to order the Berwick Select Board meeting of November 15th, 2022. We have 4 members of the board. Linda is absent tonight. We have the town manager. Town clerk is on Zoom. Members of the public. Let us stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First, we have the approval of our meeting minutes from October 25th, 2022.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll accept. Second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? 4-0. Next, we have our first public comment. Are either of you here for public comment?
Nope. They're here for the appointment.
Yep. All right, then I will.
Before you move on,
Yep.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank Patty, the town clerk, and all her crew for the election. We haven't met since then, and everything seems to have gone smoothly. I haven't heard of any problems. I know you people put in long hours, and I just wanted to make sure that you were recognized, and thank you for your job well done.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't do it without all the help.
Well, you've done it
You did
great
great,
every year that we've seen, and you got the results quickly. Everybody's not everybody's happy.
Yeah, looked
50%
busy when I went down, and
the vote went smoothly. So
Yes,
thank you.
It did. Thank you.
All right, so we'll close the first public comment. We have a public hearing for the approval of a marijuana caregiver retail store and medical marijuana production facility at 513 Portland Street, Trican.
So I can cover this one.
Please.
Back in June 2022, amendment was approved to streamline the marijuana process. Just because we have so many that come through, it allows us to waive the hearing. We notify the abutters, and if nobody steps forward with any concerns, and if there's no active code violations, I would, at this time, recommend waiving the public hearing and approving the license for Trican. If you remember, Trican was in March of 2022. What happens is they have a local authorization form that was on a different schedule. So this license will be prorated, and it just lines up to 2 licenses.
So what does he end up paying? $6,000 because he's got a retail and he's got to grow.
It's $5,000 now. So we reduced the medical marijuana production to $2,000, but all the adult use is still $3,000. So his license is $5,000 total, and it was prorated. So it ends up being about $1,600 off from that.
Why? Why was it prorated?
So his normal, it's because the license is a year.
Yeah.
He is renewing it 4 months early.
Oh.
So he's renewing tonight to get in line with both of them
State
come
license.
March, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we waive the public hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? I just want to make sure there is no code violations, nothing on the books.
There are no code violations,
Right.
and I have not heard one complaint in the 2 to 3 years he's been open.
All right, all those in favor?
And I'll also make a motion to approve the application.
Also second.
All right, which one? What was the first one? The
Waive the public hearing.
Public hearing.
waive the public hearing. Yes. You now to approve the actual
Application.
application.
Right.
Patty, do we need one for both the caregiver retail and the production?
No, you can do them together.
Okay. So Tom's made a motion. I will second the motion for the application. Any further discussion? All those in favor? There we go.
Semantics at that point, Tom.
Well, we got to be clear. We don't want
No,
to have
no. I already seconded it when you did it.
Oh,
so
you did? Oh, sorry.
it's all right.
My bad.
No worries.
No reports of committees, no department reports. We do have the appointments for the planning board. We have 2 candidates. Are there 2 spots open?
There's one spot open.
1 spot open, 2 candidates. Let's hear from them. First, we have Jim Ducharme.
I'll just make a note that I believe we'll have some possible seats open in December. So
December.
whoever doesn't get it, just wait a few weeks. And
Great. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Jim Ducharme. My wife and I have been living in Berwick now for the last 2.5 years. We built the log home down on 236 with some wonderful landscaping by Mr. Pendergrass's organization. Thank you. I heard about the planning board opening from my son forwarded to me because he knows I like to give back to the community. My family, I raised my family in Somersworth for the last 20 some odd years, where I ran Somersworth Little League and Somersworth Babe Ruth for a number of years to sort of get those back in good financial shape. Look, my goal is wherever I live, I just want to give back to the community and make it a better place for my family and for everybody in town. The land we live on today has been in our family since the mid 1800s under the Provencher family, and we're proud to keep that going on. I'm glad to see that we've got a couple folks here. I just want an opportunity to be involved in the local town. If that's now, great. If it's December, great. If it's another capacity, great. That's what we're looking to do. So happy to answer any questions or get your feedback. On a professional level, just so you know, I am a chief operating officer of a company called Outseer. We do online fraud prevention. So whenever you use your credit card online, it goes through us to see if it's fraud, that sort of thing. So I run a worldwide organization. We have about 400 employees, 150 under my direct responsibility. So I've run large teams, dealt with a lot of lawyers, and dealt with a lot of rules. So and built a house here. So know what it's like going in front of the planning board and Jen McCabe getting us all approved. So happy to see what I can give back to the town. Thank you.
Good. We want to stay right up there. Are there any questions for Jim? No?
I just want to thank you for stepping forward. We're always looking to have new people step forward and join our community team here. Other than being in front of the planning board, are you familiar with the planning codes and things like that at all?
I have spent way too much time in the land use ordinance. I also own 48 acres across the street from our house as well. In Somersworth, I spent a lot of time. I own real estate there. So I'm certainly not enforcing it, but I am very familiar with reading and understanding the very robust land use ordinance and understand the responsibility of the planning board in ensuring the appropriate use against the land use ordinance and dealing with variance against that. So I'll say familiarity. Don't live and breathe it every day.
Good. That's not necessary. One of the things we try to do is get a diverse, group of people on the planning board.
Right.
Is we like to have, so that a little bit of everybody can contribute. So it's good that we have that. And one of the things we also like to ask people that join the boards is, you have to be willing to let your own personal feelings go by and enforce what's on our ordinances.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, and sorry, just to address that, I mean, I well understand the position isn't to help make the town look like what I want to make it look like. It really is about making sure that when things are put in front of the planning board, that they are appropriate for against the land use ordinance as they are, or we follow due process for variance or exceptions to that. I also think the planning board has a responsibility to come back to the town to understand where there may be potential enhancements to that. However, that shouldn't change the.
Well, that's why is most every year is this fall was a unusual, and we didn't have any changes to the ordinance, any tweaks or anything. But no, they're constantly working with the town planner and people to look for ways to improve it. So there's generally almost every year there's a chance to amend the ordinances and things. So as attitudes change, as needs change, the ordinance can change. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point of diversity, completely agree with that. And my background would be as a landowner, as a homeowner, as somebody involved in developing the community. If there are other folks with different backgrounds on that board, if I can add that diversity to the planning board, great. If there's somebody that looks just like me from what role I would play in that board, pick somebody else, right? That's what I would welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Appreciate it. Next, we have Cameron Haldick. Haladic.
Good evening. Cameron Haladic. I live on 58 Knox Lane. I've lived in Berwick my whole life. My great-grandparents grew up in Berwick. They've lived there their whole lives. I'm now raising my son here. So reason why I wanted to join the planning board was to just kind of give back and kind of set up hopefully help the town set up a good future for him to live his whole life here. I work at the shipyard, been there for 8 years. I'm a supervisor down there. I work in planning and management meetings constantly every day. That's my job, managing crews, running crews, and then also coming up with strategic plans to make sure that they can execute their jobs properly, and also with accordance with process instructions and technical work documents, right? So that's most of my day. My grandmother worked here at the town hall, and my great-grandfather worked very closely with building and helping with all town stuff. You guys have any questions for me?
If you don't mind asking, I've lived here all my life. Who are your grandparents?
Babe Plant.
Oh, yeah.
Was my great-grandfather.
Right.
Janet.
Janet worked
was,
there
yep,
for decades.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So.
Yeah, I bought a piece of property off of them on Knox Lane.
Oh, yeah.
So much like Jim, I built a house down here on 13 acres here in Knox Lane. So plan on staying there for a little bit.
Yep. That's good.
Do you have any specific skills or knowledge of planning or city planning or land use ordinance?
So I actually have the land use ordinance sitting on my kitchen table right now.
Interesting reading,
That's
isn't it?
So to be honest with you, other than working every day with process instructions, which is muchly written, kind of like what the land use ordinance is, understanding that, working our way through it, and doing our work to what our process instructions do at the shipyard, matches a lot what you guys do here with the land ordinances and following those, and if need to make the town better place, making changes to those process instructions to get those things done to help the future and the well-being of everybody here. I've never sat in on a planning board, so I can't say that I've had direct correlation to that. But like I said, as far as day-to-day stuff, fairly similar.
The planning board it's so different than anything else in the town. Really, it's like we have I think the select board meetings are slightly more important. They cover more things, but more people show up to planning board meetings. The planning board meetings go longer. They have site walks and things like that they go on. So it's slightly more labor intensive, and for some reason, more involves the public. The public comes to them directly with complaints and issues, and
Not in my backyard.
Yeah, everybody who's building something, and then all their neighbors tend to show up to some things, and they're not always particularly kind, polite. Usually civil, but not always kind and polite. But do you think you would fare well if you had some, irate landowners that you had to tell no to?
Again, I hate going back to it, but that's kind of what I do every day, right?
Yeah.
I have to direct work every day. plan and direct work every day. I have usually anywhere of a crew of 10 people underneath me, day-to-day ops, as well as working with other teams throughout the shipyard. And I'll tell you, by no means does everyone always agree on what we're doing. So, yes, mediating and discussing and coming up with a feasible plan is something I do day in and day out. Comes pretty easy with me. I mean, to get all my people working together, I hold a weekly meeting with just my immediate crew and discuss things that we did well during the week, things we need to improve on during the week, and then get feedback on how we would do things together as a group, just so that everyone understands where we're coming from, so we don't have some of those issues. But again, not everyone always agrees.
Yeah.
I think it's great that we got two great
That was-
candidates. I mean, it's just a breath of fresh air. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions?
No questions directly to Cam. You know, I mean, really just the second one was kind of set up here to both of you. Thank you. You know, it's nice being on this side of it and seeing, it seems like the more growth we have, we're actually seeing more get involved and more people coming up. And, you know, Tom always says, you know, it's a thankless job. It's almost in town because, as Noah alluded to, you know, sometimes it's not necessarily pleasant being on this side, having to talk to somebody, but you still have to have that information. And the other thing that, you know, Tom kind of really alluded to, that's the one thing that I always try to remind anybody who joins planning or any other board is, we really need to keep our own personal bias out of it, you know, and whether, you know, it's growth or business or solar farms or medical marijuana. We just saw that, you know, what we just passed. It doesn't matter how we feel about it. It's what the town put in place and what the town voted on and what the LUO actually stands for, and that's what we need to be here to support. So to see two people actually understand that and come before and want to give up their time is really something great to see. So I just wanted to say thank you to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. In my view, we have two perfectly qualified candidates. So I will entertain a motion from anyone on the board who has a strong feeling one way or the other.
Well, it is usually when we have multiple people for one job, is I like to ask is who submitted their name first? Do you have that?
I
What was
think
it?
Cameron did.
Is there an opening though in December?
Well, we're hearing there could be.
There are rumbles.
Yeah, so we can't preemptively, unfortunately.
So, is
Cameron was first.
yeah, is
If I may?
yeah. Go right ahead.
I mean, you know, I'm thrilled to see two candidates as well. I mean, I have no problem letting, if you guys find us both acceptable, give Cameron this one. I'm not going anywhere. I wanted the select board to understand who I was, my involvement in the community. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. If it's December, if it's January, if it's a different position, that's my goal. I don't need a trophy. I just
Maybe
want to
some
help and
select
give
board
back.
openings next year.
What's that?
There may be some select board openings next year.
I am open for that as well.
Definitely going to be one.
You know what?
Both Mark and I are up
Right
this
now,
next
yes,
term, and we'll both have finished up 9 years sitting back here. So.
Yeah. You know, I'll be honest with you. That would be interesting as well.
Well, just so you know,
It is
you
pretty
can serve on the planning board and make a decision later. So there's no.
Yeah, there's,
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Like I said, that's what I'm here for. So if I think Cameron is a very viable candidate from my perspective. Not that that matters, but I'm happy to let him have this. And if there's opportunities in the future, call me.
You know, I'm glad to see that two people with long-term connections
Yeah.
to Berwick,
Yeah.
are involved. It's good to have newer folks also, but
It's always good to. I know you guys say
Yeah.
there's no bias,
right.
but in your mind, if they got a better way of doing it, looking outside the box, we
Right.
want to hear about it, even though it's not in the
oh,
book.
absolutely.
Right.
yeah.
You know, I
Absolutely.
mean, to me, that's critical. I don't always agree with what goes on. There's nothing
It-
wrong with that.
the only other is this for a full term, or is this to fill out Dave's term?
I would do it for a full three-year term because I believe Dave's term will be ending December 2022 anyways.
So just an extra month.
So it's an extra
Yeah.
3 weeks at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
You know,
2 weeks if you're if it's the beginning of December.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Cameron Haladic to the planning board
For a 3-year term.
for a 3-year term.
I will second that.
3 years and change.
Yeah. 3 years. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
And again, I want to thank you both. It's one of the best parts of our job, I think, is
Oh, yeah.
yes.
This is
interviewing the people and appointing
Yeah.
them to the boards and commissions and
Yeah,
things.
definitely, it's the best part of it.
So
And frankly, it's always it's kind of a bummer when there's multiple people for only one position, but it's also very happy that there's multiple
Yes.
people for one position because sometimes there's one person for a position and they're not really fully qualified, but nobody else is beating down the door, and you know it's better to have too many candidates than not enough. You know, so thank you both, really appreciate it, and we'll definitely let you know if anything opens up shortly.
Yeah, we'll make sure
Yes,
you're.
absolutely.
we'll call
Thank you,
you.
Jim.
oh yeah,
Thank you.
we won't lose your number.
We have no unfinished business. We have the town manager's report.
As you can see outside, the area where the underground tank is planned to be placed has water in it, and that needs to go before the tank can be installed. Depending on how the water tests, it may need to go to special waste, which is very expensive. If it is treatable, the sewer plant is amenable to it going to the sewer plant, which could cut the cost. We will likely need to rent a special tank and have it hauled. The cost at worst case scenario could be an additional $43,000.
43,000?
$43,000. That's worst case scenario. If the tests come back good, it will be less expensive, but still expensive in the range of, I don't have an exact cost, we're still working on the options, but probably in the $20,000.
What about dumping it right to, instead of hauling it to the sewer plant? We talked about that this afternoon, about pumping it into a sewer main, sewer catch basin.
I will look into that, see if that's a,
$43,000 to haul that over there?
so that would be,
No, that was if it's special waste, right?
right, that would be if it's hauled
Or somewhere
somewhere
else
else and
outside?
disposed. Yep.
Yeah. If it's not, contaminated or it's just nothing wrong with it, and a sump pump, renting a sump pump, pumping it into the sewers is, as good as cheap as it could get.
It sounds like it's either the manhole or it might have to be pumped into a tank, and then the tank goes to a waste hauler, and the hauler brings it to the sewer plant. So Rick from Portland Pump Company was talking with DEP. I'll follow up with them tomorrow. DEP was open to allowing that. I've also reached out to an environmental engineer just for a second opinion to see what else our options are. But I just wanted, if you want to do some authorization to move forward out of contingency, maybe up to $20,000 or a lesser amount, if that's up to you guys, what you're comfortable with. But since we have a massive hole in the ground, I just think it'd be nice to,
How many gallon tank is going back in?
Was it 500 gallon?
What came out? It was 500, right?
Think so.
I think it's
yeah.
1,000.
Was
It was
it?
1,000?
Yeah, you may be
Let me
right.
get back to you on that. I
So
believe
the
it's
1,000 gallons going
1,000.
back in?
Well, we're supposed to meet again in 7 days.
Correct.
So, I think we can just probably wait and see what the actual result is. That'd be my opinion, unless someone has to feel strongly.
Well, how soon would we need contingency money?
I think it'd be nice to have it, be able to authorize it. I think we would just cut the wait time a week.
Well, I suggest we do. The
Yeah.
20,000 for now.
Yeah, if it's
We
any
don't-
if it's
we
any
can't
more
wait.
if it's any more, then we need to.
Well, they'll bill you anyway. It's not like, you know what I mean?
You don't have to have cash on
we
barrel.
He can't approve the bill unless we're willing to pay it, though.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Put a lien on the town hall. I'll make a motion that we reserve $20,000 out of our contingency for dealing with the water in the hole for the new oil tank.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, so that's just you're supposed to get, the test went out today, or is it coming back tonight or tomorrow?
It's going to be tested hopefully tomorrow. I don't
Okay.
have a timeline on when it will be tested. I don't even know. I
And
don't.
we're gonna get an inch of rain tonight.
Yeah.
Right.
And snow.
What is it, like a double wall tank going there? Is it a fiberglass tank?
It's a double wall
Steel?
fiberglass, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it.
Double wall fiberglass?
Let me make a note. I can send you the specs on it.
Thank you.
Final update on the fire station. The final purchase price was $350,000. With commission, the amount to the town is $320,692. The board voted to utilize fire department capital reserve in the amount of $167,855.55 on May 25th, with the stipulation we pay that back with this amount. So that leaves the remaining $161,606.45 that will go to the next available bond payment.
The whole amount?
Yep. Yep, that
That's what we talked about way
161,000.
back.
Yeah.
Right.
3 years ago, we started this process.
Well, that's a good sized payment on it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I
60,000.
think Steve had said it equivalent to 1 year, you know, of the
Yeah,
bond
so-
payment, so, is,
Only 29 years to go.
I've been doing a little research on a solar-powered movable message sign in the range of $20,000. The sign we're looking at, you can see it from a sizable distance. It also pulls speed data. I know police has been interested in purchasing one for a while. I've been in discussions with Chief Town about a grant. We're looking at throwing our hat in with SMPDC towns for a more competitive grant. That grant cycles in spring of 2023. I didn't know if the board wanted me to continue looking for something to fund this fiscal year. It might be difficult to find the funding, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
happy to find it if that's something we
We're
want.
coming up on budget season.
How much was it to rent one for the year? Did you find that out?
I did not.
Find that out, James.
Yeah.
So
See if-
I thought we were gonna try two.
yeah, we could.
Yeah,
We
well,
can-
20 grand from once. And
yeah.
we're not looking at two.
Yeah,
I'll
if-
make a call tomorrow. I got some
Yeah,
friends
we
that buy a
can-
lot of them. I'll see what the.
If
Yeah.
we need it, we can rent it in
Interim.
interim time.
Yeah.
Work on the grant. If we get the grant, then we can use that money to buy it. If we don't, we can put it into the budget for next year.
Right.
We'll know by the time we're doing the budget process if we're going to get it or not.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
anything else?
That sounds good. We got a few more things.
Okay.
Pilot testing for the water plant is well underway. Jody has done a fantastic job. It's been a lot of coordinating to keep the project on track and on time. So again, pilot testing is well underway. They've tested one of the chemicals in the system. They're working on a second one and a few different methods in the process. They will be developing a report through the month of December, and we expect to have those results back in January. So again, that's the
So as we're talking about the water, now Jim's from Somersworth, right? I'm sure he knows people in Somersworth. When they replaced the bridge, they took out the water main that came across, and then we wanted to put it back in, but Somersworth didn't want to do that. Now we have an issue. They've agreed to let us put a connection in because of our water issues we're having, and James would know how that's going. But I think if
Yeah,
anyone
they're-
with
I mean,
a little bit
they're-
of political pull might help. You're looking for something?
Any
What do we
help?
got?
I know.
Not to name names, but my neighbor was the mayor.
He lives in Berwick?
No, in Summersworth.
Oh, it's
When you were looking
there we go.
I know if you go back to the minutes, there's a few discussions that happened at the time, and it was the select board that determined to.
No, they wouldn't. I was here. Mike and Tom and I were here.
If you go back through the minutes, there's an initial report from Patrick that says something about the council, and then there's discussions for like 5 or 6 months that go on.
And they said
Eventually,
no.
it was the select board that voted to.
This select
Did I-
board?
Well, I think we voted no because of the cost they wanted.
Yeah, like it was like a high. They
It
wanted
was-
like an
yeah.
absurd price for the water or something
Well,
like that.
for the connection coming underneath the railroad track.
Well, that plus the price of the water.
Yeah.
That's what it was, the price of the water. But you know, we should have done it anyway and got it in, and we could have
Haggled
discussed
them
the
later.
price anyway.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I forgot about that.
But
The price of the water.
they're open to. I mean, we have the groundwork for an emergency interconnection, and we're still going to be working on designing a formal connection. It's going to be expensive, but it'd be a good candidate for a grant. And I also want to recognize Patty and everyone that worked at the election. Elections are some of my favorite days of the year. Seeing everybody out, democracy is alive and well with over 3,000 votes. So, congrats to everybody, and thank you for participating. I also want to recognize the rec department, rec commission, and Shannon for a smashing success with Trunk and Treat. And I know they've been well ahead of schedule on the holiday parade, so I'm looking forward to that. So everyone's doing a great job.
You looking for a Christmas tree now?
We got one this year.
You already got one?
Yeah,
Oh,
Shannon did. And one for next year too.
I got a bunch. I got to get them cut down.
Sorry.
Well, we'll have multiple Christmas trees. How's that?
That completes my report.
All right.
Yeah, you could have one.
All right. We have no selectmen communications. Should be select board communications.
Is that an official motion to the agenda?
No. We already are the select board. I'm saying that in the itinerary it should be select board communications, not select men communications.
Nice.
No, I don't think there needs to be a vote on that. All right, we have the approval of the accounts payable. 3029. All right. We have a payroll warrant number 29 from November 3rd, 2022, in the amount of $82,417.26. We have payroll warrant number 30 from November 10th, 2022, in the amount of $68,413.96. And we have an accounts payable warrant number 31 from November 15th in the amount of $1,110,131.31. I make the motion that we pay our bills.
Second.
And all those in favor? All right, time keeps moving. We have no new business, no quitclaim deeds, no abatements. Any second public comment? Nope. All right. We do have an executive session for discussion of labor contracts. We will be going into that executive session. We will not be coming out. No decisions will be made. No votes. So, any other business and non-agenda items?
Yeah, just real quick with kind of what happened with this morning in the schools. I think for anyone that was a parent or a grandparent or sitting up here, we obviously know it was a scary moment. Thankfully, it was a hoax for what's going on. But from who I've talked to today and people that were kind of involved and around with first response, and I really wanted to say, talk to Linda to tell her to pass that along, but I know your community emergency management, local rescue teams, law enforcement, from what I heard, everybody responded magnificently in case it was something that could have been more serious. And I think that's a huge testament to what things are being put in place to actually hopefully prevent anything from like that from happening. MSAT 60 with sending out communication and what that looks like for parents or children to just reach out for help. If any of the parents haven't seen that, there is communication and links there for them to reach out to. And I just want to say for something that was, while not real, was very real to many people. And I think that's just a huge thank you to the people involved to make sure that we are set up for something that could be,
Can they? That was on a burner phone. Can they
That's what it
crack a
sounds
burner
like it.
phone?
Nope.
You
Well,
can't.
actually, what I had read that
You can't back.
there's stuff coming
I'm
out that it's coming from overseas
Right.
that people from other countries are doing shenanigans with
Yeah,
computers.
there
and
are
burners
at
and-
least 10 different calls to different schools in Maine today.
and the FBI said something like 100 over the past 6 months or something like that all across the country. So,
Yeah.
but luckily it was not something that was real, and I 100% agree. The police did an amazing job. There was quick response. And,
Oh yeah, real quick response.
yeah. And going back to the election, yeah, we did have a great turnout in this midterm,
Yeah,
3,000 plus. I really hope that the people come back for if there's a vote in January, if there's a vote next June. There'll definitely be a vote next June, because the select board members and the budget and all those things. Like for some of those, off-brand votes, we end up with as few as 300 to 600 votes. So just vote every time like it's this, and or it's like it's a presidential, and your voice will be heard. It'll be magnified. So, any
And
other
just
business?
to clarify, there is no January election.
Yes, no January. Thank you.
Thanks, Betty.
Yeah,
That we know of yet.
no, it's too late. No, it's true. I don't know where my brain is. I sometimes forget that it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be December in a month, and then it'll be. We're already hitting on 2023. My brain's still in 2019 when things were good and happy. And, yes, but
Before
no.
you were selected.
No, that was a long time ago. I was there 3,000 years ago. All right, then I will make the motion that we enter executive session under Title I, 4056D for the discussions of labor contracts.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you very much.